What is empathy? How does it actually work? And what is the value that it brings to you as a high value person in regards to everybody that you interact with? That can be with family members, with loved ones, with people in the workplace, as a leader, as a family member. It is a high value quality that is, in fact, a game changer in all and every relationship you will ever have and experience. My name is Vital Germain. I'm author of Pink is the Color of Empathy. This is a breakdown of turning you into a high value person in a highly disconnected world. Let's break it down. Empathy is not about agreement. This is the big misconception. Just because I have empathy for somebody does not mean that I either agree with their choices, agree with their philosophy, agree with their actions. Neither does it mean that I condone their behavior. It simply means that I understand. And let me give you a few examples of what that can look like. Let's take some blatant, obvious discrepancies in social situations and social justice. That can be from homophobia, that can be from sexism, that can be from racism, that can be from anybody who feels disrespected, undermined, undervalued. It can be a person in the workplace whose boss completely alienates them and they feel taken advantage of. So, empathy is about focusing on what emotional experience is a person having, regardless of the circumstance. So, I will take sexism. It's a neutral perspective from me as a male. If a woman expresses that she feels threatened by the actions or the words of another man, whether I agree with what happened or not is irrelevant. What I'm trying to understand and connect with is the emotion that that woman is having. She feels threatened. She feels disrespected. She feels undervalued. We have all felt those things at some point in our lives. And if you felt those things and you've registered those things and you've been emotionally aware to understand what they feel like, now you can transfer and translate what you've experienced in the past to understand what this person is now experiencing. Yes, I remember feeling disrespect at Uncle Bob's wedding, blah, 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 fill in the blanks. You know what it feels like to be disrespected. Yes, my boss once made me feel like an absolute fool, took advantage of me, violated me. It was, in fact, borderline exploitation. It felt horrible. I was angry. I was frustrated. I was hurt. That's the emotion that the other person currently is feeling. The woman who feels either sexually harassed or undervalued because she's not been given an opportunity to get a promotion, etc., etc. You can fill in the narrative to whatever you like. I'm using that as an example that is broad and common. Whether I subscribe to feminism or not is secondary if I'm able to remove my ego. And that's really the cornerstone of having empathy. It's the ability to remove the ego. In fact, the great philosopher Plato once said, the highest form of knowledge is empathy, for it requires us to suspend our egos and live in another's world. It requires profound purpose, larger than the self kind of understanding. That's powerful. To be able to effectively have empathy and implement empathy, one must remove the ego. It is that simple. And now this is somewhat of an accountability moment. If you are unable to remove your ego because you are arrogant, overly confident, insensitive, a narcissist, a sociopath, then you will not be able to have empathy because you are so preoccupied in you. And empathy is about the broader picture of humanity. So if you can't have empathy, it means you're kind of a selfish, egotistical person. And it's on a spectrum. But if you want to be a high value person, you need to understand what empathy is. You need to be able to connect with the part of you that has a level of understanding and respect of another human being. The other major misconception about empathy is that is a weakness because it's viewed as, well, you're being soft. You're not standing up, being firm with your beliefs and your core values. And there is a level of truth with that because those who are highly sensitive, those who are highly empathic, tend to violate their own values in order to please and accommodate the needs of others. Here's the solution to that. Maintain your empathy, maintain your social sensitivity, maintain your awareness of the existence of other human beings, all the while implementing healthy, effective, impactful boundaries that honor you as an individual. I can honor myself without having to fuel and feed my ego. There is a way to find a healthy balance. It's an awareness, emotional intelligence. I'm aware of what you are experiencing. I can relate to what you are experiencing. I can acknowledge what you are experiencing, but I'm not going to let it compromise the essence of who I am. So again, I don't need to agree with you. I'm not going to condone your behavior. I'm simply going to understand I've been angry before. I don't agree with why you're angry right now, but I can understand why people get angry. So I understand why you're angry. I can communicate empathy. All the while, I can still hold you accountable. I understand why you're angry. I've been angry before. What happened to you sucks. What happened to you was horrible. What happened to you merits anger as a response. And then there comes a validation clause, a qualifier. However, you punching the person in the face was unnecessary. I understand your anger, but your actions were maybe not appropriate. That's how empathy works. I can understand you. I can still hold you accountable, hold you responsible for the negative choices you made. Empathy is not a weakness. Empathy is a superhuman power that invites understanding, promotes human connection, and as a result, there is harmony. And when it comes to the workplace, this impacts leadership. Great leaders who are able to remove their ego and view and look at the bigger picture of the company must have empathy. They can still be firm. They can still demand respect. They can still effectively implement regulations and standard operating procedures, all the while having empathy for the employees that they have in their company. It's a healthy, delicate balance. If you want to learn more about empathy as a leader, I do offer keynotes and company trainings. Also on a more personal level in regards to offering empathy in regards to mental health. With mental health being the modern pandemic, more and more people are suffering at home and in the workplace because of a lack of human connection, human understanding. Become that high value person. Pink is the color of empathy is a 360 guide on how to leverage empathy, how to understand it, how to implement it. Now you know.